One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. Then let me be free.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart, steel and a spirit unbroken. He rides on to his ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow, he takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry. Metal and mayhem will never die. Rituals report he pays his way. More legend in the making, day by day.
Yes, sir. It is Friday freaking morning. It's a bit rainy over here in northern Alabama, but I tell you one thing. It's always a great time when it's Friday. Much love, honor, and respect to everybody. Always appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Yours truly over here. You guys could have been anywhere else in the world, but you guys decided to be right here with me, man. I always appreciate it. We got quite a bit to discuss this morning. At first, believe it or not, when I was setting the show up earlier this morning at like 8:30 my time, I was like, oh, man, this is going to be a little bit of a dull morning. But then shit picked up. We got some freaking stories for you guys, man. We got all sorts of it. Now, I've got this labeled Trump Tariffs, Hurricane Season Outlook, and more. But we're actually going to be going into a whole bunch of stuff. We got Israel accepts Trump-backed temporary ceasefire proposal with Hamas. We have appeals court allows Trump tariffs to remain in effect. Suspect in Jocelyn Nungary, I think that's the way you say it, case accused of graping American, former DA speaks out. Today is the final official day for Elon Musk, but you know what he does say is final day for Elon Musk as Doge leader, quote, disappointed. I'm sure he came out and said, I'm disappointed that I didn't get to hammer out more than what was, you know. Then we're going to go into the hurricane season for 2025 a little bit. And then we've got a manhunt underway for the Devil in the Ozarks. I'm not sure what that is all about, but I guess it's an escape from prison kind of ordeal. But so anyways, that's our lineup for the morning. And always appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Before we get into the madness, though, make sure you guys hit that like button on the way in. Helps out the show immensely, and it's free to do so. If you guys didn't know, hitting that subscribe button is also free. Just got to say it, you know. Some people may not know that, you know. They were like, I don't want to purchase something. Well, no, it's free. Please consider becoming a member starting at $2.99 a month. This is where it does cost a little bit of money. But guess what? The whole reason why I get to speak the way I do is 100% because of you guys in the membership program, which is the Breakfast Club. Always appreciate you guys with your monthly contributions. And listen, it's not going to break the bank or anything, but it allows us never to cater to any type of views on YouTube. We don't cater to like just a look. Because that's how ad revenue is made. But I don't give a fuck about ad revenue. I care about you guys. So we get to speak the way we get because of you guys. It's awesome. It's something that I think is I'm very grateful for, just to say. Also, a little side note, follow my Instagram right here at BallValveTV, where I post everything behind the scenes of not only my lifestyle, but as well as the show and Millennial Food Time. We're always getting down with our bad selves over there. And it's a great way to get a hold of me one-on-one. But if you guys also haven't joined the Discord link is being dropped by Naomi periodically in the chat. Make sure you guys join up on that. Always appreciate your guys' hanging out with us, because it's a great way for us to continue the conversation after the show's over. It's awesome. And we all do I'll wake up and you guys have already been going since 2 a.m. I'm like, holy shit, these motherfuckers have been up forever. Like, what are you guys doing over here? All right. Last but not least, of course, every super chat, gifted membership signups, all these things, of course, are going to be shouted out and presented live onto the show. But if you guys would like to skip that YouTube brutal 30% cut, we have these platforms scrolling for the remainder of the show. And of course, I will shout you and your message out on those platforms. And this is a, great way to have 100% of your money go to 100% of your favorite content creator. You know what I mean? So with that being said, man, we got all you legends up in here. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. We got all of you guys. We got Steve Posey up in here. We got Dean as well. We got freaking Naomi. Yes. Good morning. Good morning. We got Glare 1%er as well. Good to see you, my man. Me and him, we were actually playing some Call of Duty last night. We were fucking them up. We got Rabbit of Chaos. Good morning. Good morning to you. Hopefully you're doing well as well. We got Todd J, my man. It's been a minute since I've seen you. Hopefully you're doing good, man. It's always love to see you hang out with us. No Lucy, no like. It's so funny because every time I start up the show, she automatically just runs under the couch, like 99.9% of the time. Sometimes she will be on that couch, on that side right there, but it's pretty rare actually. She usually, as soon as I hit go live, she like runs. She's like, Dad's gonna be loud now. I don't want to be around it.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
Yeah, I mean, because I am a loud person. When I speak, it's a little loud. We got SNS, my man. Good morning to you as well. Thank you for hanging out with us. Good morning. Good morning. Yo, we got Cowboy up in here, my man. Good morning. Good morning as well. We got Charles over there from Down Under. Always appreciate him as well. Brother Hardwire 1%er. Yes, sir. Good to see you. All right, we're catching up. We got chairman of the board as well, man. Good morning. Miss Lotus. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. And yeah, Charles says, where's Lucy? Yeah, I just told you. She's under the couch, dude. It's just the way it goes, bro. Just the way it goes. The like button is free. I can't do it. Yeah, I'd rather pay for it. I like that. That's cool. I respect that, Hardwire. I respect that. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and get into the morning madness. We're going to go ahead and start off with Israel accepts Trump-backed temporary ceasefire proposal with Hamas. This is a very short segment. There's only 3 minutes. A lot of these segments are actually fairly short. There's only, I believe, 2 longer ones. So our next, when we go to, it says appeals court allows Trump tariffs to remain in effect. That's a long one. And so we'll kind of zip through it. But this one's fairly short. Let's get it.
Welcome back here to Live Now from Fox. I'm Andrew Kraft. We have some key international headlines to get to on these 2 conflicts that we cover each and every day here. Let's first start in the Middle East. Live pick.
No, real quick. Pitbull over there from across the pond over there in the UK said, remember to rev the like button and drop the clutch on the share button to wheel spin the show out of here. Hope you're all okay and having a great day. Yes, sir, man. Very much appreciate that as well. Also, by the way, since we already got it set up, I just wanted to go ahead and let everyone know. At the end of this show, we're going to be sending you guys over to Carney. So he's live. We're going to make sure we show love to the homie right here. We got my brother Dean Savage over there in freaking Israel. Good to see you, my man. Always appreciate you, as well as Gary hanging out with us. 26 watching, only 16 likes. What? Shit, right now we're at 29 watching and 16 likes. Yo, we need to pump that shit up, yo. That's crazy. You got to hit that like button. Real quick, we got freaking Pitbull gifting out a membership, man. Thank you very much, kind sir. My man coming in hot over there in the UK. We like that British currency. We do. And then we got my man Shadow. Dude, thank you guys so much. I very much appreciate that. And if you guys got a gifted membership, make sure you guys thank the people that gifted them, because it's not free, we got AI. Is that Al Robles? Missing shield is to protect America from Russia and China, not Europe and Ukraine. That says a lot. What's up, man? Hopefully you're doing good. We got Mount High as well. Like button and left-handed tobacco all around. Yes, sir. You know the deal. I got it ready to go. So I just wanted to go ahead and do one long pause and say hi to everyone. Make sure I cover my bases before we get back into it. Because every time I pause it, then, anyways.
Picture there looking into the Gaza Strip from southern Israel. Well, Israel has now accepted another U.S. proposal for a ceasefire and hostage deal. Hamas, according to reports, they're mulling it over. They have not accepted it just yet. Fox News correspondent Trey Yingst has more from the region. Let's listen.
Oh, shit.
Israeli troops are moving deeper into Gaza, gaining control of more territory as they take the fight to
Yo, Papa Penguin, my man. Good morning.
Hamas. But as the conflict intensifies, there's a new push for diplomacy. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff is expected to present an updated ceasefire proposal to both Israel and Hamas, including the release of 10 living hostages in exchange for a 60-day ceasefire.
I have some very good feelings about getting to a long-term resolution, temporary ceasefire, and a long-term resolution.
Hamas has already agreed to the terms, but it's still not clear what Israel will do. There are indications the Israeli government will commit to the ceasefire while negotiations toward a broader peace plan continue. But at the same time, there are no signs the new offensive will end anytime soon.
But the international pressure remains fixed on Israel, not the terrorists.
Brother Frank, my man. Good morning, good morning.
That pressure only plays into Hamas's hands. It strengthens the terrorists.
And Robert Demita. Shit, all you legends.
Prolongs the war.
Meanwhile, aid distribution remains paused in many areas of the Gaza Strip after
But paused by the UN and the way they distribute, the way that the UN right now with the whole food distribution thing, I've wrapped this up a couple of times, so I'm not going to talk your guys' ears off about it. But the UN is refusing to distribute this aid the way that the Americans and the way American companies and also with the security of the IDF, the UN has still decided not to do that. So what is continuing to happen? Hamas keeps stealing the fucking aid. So anyways, there is a lot of pauses going on in the country, but that's because they're trying to get it a secure way to be able to disperse all of this aid without it getting jacked all the time. So
starving Palestinians stormed distribution centers.
We arrived there and found people charging for the food and that there is no system and we didn't get anything and left hungry.
There's people charging for the food. So is it the people charging for food or is it fucking Hamas that is charging you, the citizen, the Palestinian people, charging you to go ahead and fucking for your own supplies that were meant for you?
Despite the chaos, Israel says plenty of food and water is getting to civilians, and there's no humanitarian crisis in Gaza, something international organizations disagree with.
You didn't have mass starvation at all.
Under the new proposal, Israel would have the option to resume fighting after a 60-day pause or extend the ceasefire. In Tel Aviv, Trey Yingst, Fox News.
Fox News. All right.
Great, thanks so much. Back on live there to the Middle East. Well, this was
a little left here.
A key focal point of the questioning of Caroline Leavitt today at the White House briefing. Let's listen.
I can confirm that Special Envoy Witkoff and the president submitted a ceasefire proposal to Hamas that Israel backed and supported. Israel signed off on this proposal before it was sent to Hamas. I can also confirm that those discussions are continuing, and we hope that a ceasefire...
Oh, they're charging as in the verb charging. I understand what you're getting at. I get you, Dean.
Gaza will take place.
Well,
so
not what you're getting at, the correction made there. I appreciate that.
And return all of the hostages home, and that's been a priority from this administration from the beginning.
All right, there you have it. That's the news. Israel has accepted now. We're waiting on final word from Hamas. We'll see whether or not they accept it or reject it. History shows they usually reject it.
Damn. All right. So that story was a quick one, which is awesome. I love little quick updates. Now this one's going to be a little bit of a longer one, so we're going to go ahead and speed through this as quickly as possible. But it is a big story. We have a lot going on here. This was 12 hours ago, but I did, this is important to go ahead and discuss here.
One of the key signature policies of the Trump administration, his tariff policies. Well, just today, a federal appeals court allowed the president to continue collecting tariffs, remember, under that emergency powers law, for now. Key two words there. As his administration appeals an order striking down the bulk of his signature set of Economic Policy is our colleague and friend there, Fox News' Connor Hansen, with more details. Let's listen.
President Trump's sweeping
Hold on. That's like a professional speaker here, so let's go ahead and bring this back down a little bit.
Are back on thanks to a ruling by a federal appeals court. It comes after the U.S. Court of International Trade threatened to stop or delay most of the reciprocal and baseline tariffs announced earlier this year.
Last night, the Trump administration faced another example of judicial overreach.
President Trump has been using an emergency powers law to impose tariffs. The trade court ruled it doesn't give the president, quote, unbounded authority. But the administration says it's confident its plan will work.
We are very, very confident that we are going to get this positive result, and we're even more confident that we're going to win in the end. You got to understand that Jameson Greer, the U.S. trade representative, is the smartest trade lawyer on earth, and that he chose this as the best option.
The White House says the court ruling did not delay any of its pending trade deals.
It's not me popping. That's the mainstream media. See, look, do you hear any popping noises now? Hear any popping noises? No, you don't. You hear it from the mainstream media. The lamestream media, by the way. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate these guys can't get their audio together. You know, I'm not funded by millions of dollars and shit, but I can get my audio right.
It's holding talks with Japan and expects a delegation from India to come to Washington next week. Wall Street is watching closely, and major U.S. companies are waiting to see how it all shakes out. The CEO of General Motors says the automaker is moving forward with expanding U.S. production.
There's certain moves that we're already making to strengthen our North America manufacturing because we can do that with the clarity we already have.
The appeals court gave the Trump administration until June 9th to submit its arguments. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
Fox News.
Connor, thanks so much.
That guy always does that, and it fucking, for some reason, it irks me. It's one of those things that grinds your gears, you know? Yeah, no, that's something that grinds my gears. Fox News. I don't know why he does that every time.
Conversation right now, our friend there at the American Institute for Economic Research, Lydia Mashburn-Newman. She joins me. Lydia, so good to see you here. Boy, there's a lot to get to. Now, I'm going to characterize this. I said topsy-turvy, but I want to ask you this. How can the global markets, how can the U.S. economy, how can business owners here and those who do business outside the United States with the United States, how can they keep up if the tariff policies are changing day by day?
Very true, Papa. 100%.
Yeah, I think for the most part, markets had started to settle with just the changes coming from the administration itself, kind of getting to a place of comfort that, yes, the rates may change from day to day, but at the end of the day, we'll probably end up with at least a 10% tariff. But whether that was going to take 30, 60, 90 days or another additional 90 days after the initial...
Yo, brother GEG, good morning, my man. He says, I think the mainstream media uses their mics as butt plugs while doing the news. W comment. That is a W comment, homeboy.
Move out of those Liberation Day dates. So markets kind of got a little settled around that. And then we've had these court cases. And it seemed that the markets were actually kind of pleased with some of the reining in, that there were two cases that came out.
And Tat's over there across the pond. Always appreciate her coming in over there in the UK. Appreciate you as well. We got Christopher Collins popping in as well. Good morning. Good morning. Hopefully you're all enjoying yourselves and having a fantastic Friday morning, you know. And we got Tiffany Lance as well. Shit. See what I'm saying? Always appreciate you guys, man. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. We got a lot to get through, though. Let's go and run it.
Recently, today and yesterday, sort of saying, hey, we are not sure that you have the authority, the administration has the authority under the rules that they have proposed to actually enact these tariffs as they stand. So that introduces a new layer of uncertainty. But at the same time, if it means a reprieve on tariffs, that type of uncertainty can be a positive and a boon, especially for our financial.
Honestly, these judges were fucking retarded going, oh, Trump doesn't have the authority to use tariffs. He's out, you know. It's like, yo, part of his job is for the economic security for the United States. That is absolutely part of the deal. Yo, Tat's coming in and dropping it like it's hot. What? Gifting out 5 memberships, man. Thank you very much for your kind contribution. I very much appreciate that. And listen, if one of you guys got these freaking gifted memberships, make sure you thank the people that are gifting them out, because it's not free. You know what I mean? I very much appreciate it. But I like it because everyone wins in that situation. Someone gets a membership and it's still, you know, paid to the channel. So I very much appreciate that, Tats. Thank you.
Markets, where folks get pretty excited to think that that the dampening effects of tariffs might not come into play, at least as extremely as they had thought.
So I guess, Lydia, for those who are of the persuasion that the president has too much power in this regard, and that under Article 2 of the Constitution, Congress's role here, that
No, he's got the economic security of the United States. I mean, it's part of the deal.
they should have more authority. Congress should have more authority. Did any of these rulings, I guess, move that along with people who are of that persuasion that give the tariff policy back to Congress?
Yeah, so one of the decisions, the one at the U.S. International Trade Court, was pretty clear that their role was to help define the statute, that they were trying to parse through what Congress had authorized in the trade law known as IEEPA, which is the authority under which the reciprocal tariffs as well as the fentanyl tariffs had gone into place. And that legislation really was Congress what seemed to be Congress delegating a great deal of authority to the president to both declare an emergency, and then once he does that, having the ability to impose tariffs as he would choose. But the interesting jurisprudence behind this actually is that IEEPA was put in place to help actually constrain an earlier law, the Trading with the Enemy's law, that Nixon had actually used to do just that, to interpret it with very broad.
Real quick, hit that like button for the appeals court, by the way. You know, you guys don't even have to like it for me at this point, because I see you, Charles. I see you. You don't like this shit because of me. You like it for the damn cat. You know? Outrageous. Make sure you guys hit that like button, though. Very much appreciate your laborious work there.
Latitude of what constituted an emergency that would allow him to enact some trade controls. And Congress did weigh in on that and said that was too much authority. We're going to constrain you with this new law, IEEPA. And they were very, very clear and specific that you can still declare an emergency, but there are limitations on the things that you can do in that regard. And it's really interesting because Trump has said that the reason the emergency that he has declared, setting aside the fentanyl emergency, but on the reciprocal tariffs, the reason is a trade deficit, us buying too many goods from foreign countries, and the U.S. not feeling like they're getting their fair share on that. But Congress was very clear in their IEEPA limitations that anything related to balance of payments, which is the broader bucket that trade deficits fit into, that there are very specific constraints on what tariffs or actions can be imposed by the president in that type of consideration. And it really can't be declared as an emergency. And there are sort of short-term effects. You only get about 150 days to impose something that messes with our balance of payments. So there are limitations. And so far, Jamieson Greer, he chose not to go that route with these tariffs. They went with the broader, bigger potential option to have as much latitude. But this court is saying, we actually think you've overstepped here, and Congress actually hasn't given you this authority.
Right.
Wow. I'm super blessed with that. Also, real quick, we got Tats coming in on the PayPal side of the equation as well, and I believe she sent a $5, but she's in British pounds, so it converts to $6.44. W. She sends in I'll call it a super chat. How about that? Breakfast Club coffee. Cheers, Tats. Man, thank you so much for that. Tats, man, that's very, very selfless of you. Thank you.
So this is an Article 2 versus Article 1 branch of the Constitution fight. I mean, that is playing out. I mean, is it safe to say, is it right to say that Congress ceded their Article 1 authority to impose levies and taxes a long time ago, and the executive ran with it? Is that what we're seeing play out? Because I want to harp on the emergency notion of this. These rulings, these two rulings in federal.
Yo, real quick, Steve Posey. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I'm sitting here and the cat will be just hanging out either right here on the chair or here on my lap, and I'll be working or whatever. And then as soon as I hit the go live button and she hears that music going in the headphones, she runs right for underneath the couch every time. It's funny because she must know, like, oh, Dad's about to get loud.
Federal court over the last 24 hours. Does this disabuse people in the Trump administration, the president himself, that you can't call everything an emergency?
This was a concern even under the previous administration and under other administrations, that it is true. Congress has delegated a great deal of its authority to the executive branch, including giving authority, relatively broad authority to declare something an emergency with very loose criteria about what that actually is or what constitutes an emergency. And there are also limitations on how Congress can then decide when an emergency is over, because the way it's set up now, they can declare it over, but then the president can override that vote in Congress. So there's a great deal of concern that Congress really has delegated a lot of its authority, but it's not just in this emergency emergency authority component. Congress has done this with a lot of basic decisions, with delegating to.
Yo, Briar Wolf, my man. Good morning. Good morning.
Executive
Good
branch
to see you,
agencies,
man.
a lot
Happy
of the nitty-gritty
Friday.
of laws, and Congress really doesn't have much of an incentive to take that responsibility back. They get to take the credit for when things are good, and when things are bad, they just say that's the executive branch's fault. And I'm afraid we've kind of gotten ourselves into a little bit of a bind where I don't know how Congress will. Where will they get the gumption and the courage to take back some of this responsibility? They seem to be happy to delegate it to the executive branch.
I mean, to your point, yeah. I mean, once the toothpaste is out of the tube, it's hard to put it back in there. So I just have to ask this as well. Liberation Day was April 2nd. We know what was levied against the global markets and countries across the world. And then it was put on pause.
Okay, so I don't care about that aspect. What I do care about is this. Trump meets with Fed Chair Powell to discuss economy. So this is the full statement. I'm going to go ahead and back it up a little bit here because I believe he's about to read it.
And Trump met today in the Oval Office. The Fed's about, just lastly, a lot is the kind of relationship between the executive branch, the president, and the Federal Reserve and the Federal Reserve chairman. Well, Powell and Trump met today in the Oval Office. The Fed says this, that at the president's invitation, Chair Powell met with the president today at the White House to discuss economic developments, including for growth, employment, and inflation. Chair Powell did not discuss his expectations for monetary policy, except to stress that the path of policy will depend entirely on incoming economic information and what that means for the outlook. Finally, Chair Powell said he and his colleagues on the FOMC will set monetary policy as required by law to support maximum employment and stable prices, and will make those decisions based solely on careful, objective, and non-political analysis. What do you think they talked about? Did Trump ask Powell to cut interest rates? Did Jerome Powell say,
"No, sir, I'm 2 joints in of left-handed tobacco, of course, you do.
I'm not going anywhere in this job"? I thought that was interesting at the president's invitation. Do you think they worked out some of their disagreements? It's been kind of tense at President Trump's urging on social media.
Yes, it has been quite tense. And Powell has been very clear. Many folks had asked him at his last press conference, have you talked with the president at all? And he said, no, I do not reach out to sitting presidents. This is not part of my role.
Yo, Brother Lee, up in the building saying, good morning, folks. I am driving. Just wanted to say hello, chat. Well, much love, honor, respect, kind sir, but make sure you drive safely. You know, always appreciate you hanging out with us, though, and listening in.
Makes the Fed too political. So it's rather fascinating that shortly after Powell made that statement, you maybe a couple weeks after, but you have a meeting with the president set up at the president's invitation. I have a feeling they talked about the broader economy. Trump probably talked about his goals and how he viewed the role of the Fed and their role in interest rates and how he was looking for lower interest rates. I have a feeling Powell probably stressed the economic data to him, probably much like he does in the FOMC press conferences, where he explains, look, this is what the hard data is telling us, and this is the role of what the Fed is doing, and so we're going to stay the course unless the data changes. I do wonder if there was a bit of an economics lesson in there about the role of tariffs and inflation and how they might affect the price level and how
we got Lee's freaking phone glitching over there. She
may dampen economic growth and how that might not help the president achieve his longer term goals. So I can at least, the econ geek in me can hope that conversation took place as well.
All right. Lydia Mashburn-Newman, as always, I know we went a little long, but there was a lot to get to. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, in the meantime here, some of President Trump's economic advisors spoke outside the White House today in relation and response to the news that this federal appeals court, for now, reinstated most of President Trump's tariff policy. This is Kevin Hassett. He's the director of the National Economic Council outside the White House this afternoon. Let's listen.
The legal challenges, the on and off against tariffs, does it undermine negotiations with other countries?
No, not at
all. That's right, Brother Jay. Good morning, kind sir. Hopefully you're enjoying your Friday morning so far.
Because the bottom line is that we are very, very confident that we are going to get this positive result. And we're even more confident that we're going to win in the end. You got to understand that Jameson Greer, the U.S. Trade Representative, is the smartest trade lawyer on earth. And that he chose this as the best option because it works fast. It gets us to the table with our trading partners, and it's going to hold up.
Meaning tariffs.
And so if, heaven forbid, if it ever did have trouble in the future, we've got so many other options on the table that the president's policy is going to be there, enduring, and is going to make America great again, put American farmers first, and so on.
Should we be expecting an announcement on those other options soon?
Oh, those are well known. They're well studied. There are other other options, parts of the trade
But
law.
using them actually.
We won't have to use them because we're using this, and it's been upheld in court. This guy gets to go first, but I promise I'll take a couple. Yeah.
Given the uncertainty, obviously, that this is introduced going back.
Okay, so let me see if they're going on and on with him for a minute. Holy shit. All right, no, I don't need to hear his whole get down there. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move into an interesting case here. This is new details are emerging. This happened 5 hours ago. I don't know if you guys know about the Jocelyn Nunagari. I don't know if I'm saying that any way correct because the name is wild. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. But the case is being accused of raping an American, and the former DA speaks out. So we're about to hop into that here in just a second. Let me pull this up, and here it is.
Thanks for being with us here on Live Now from Fox. I'm your host, Christina Evans. Let's continue on with our top stories of today. And the next one takes us down to Houston, Texas. I want to show you this live look that we have there in the city. And this is a story that's captured national attention ever since it happened. But we are now learning new details about a suspect in the Jocelyn Nunagari case. She was the 12-year-old who was raped and murdered. And we do want to go ahead and put this up as well from our partners there at Fox 26 in Houston, saying there that former Harris County District Attorney Kim Ogg is now sharing evidence in the case that has never been revealed in public until now. For more on this, I want to bring into the conversation with Fox 26 there in Houston, Abigail Dye. Abigail, thanks so much for being with us. We know that you've been covering this story and learning those new details. What else can you tell us?
Well, Christina, this former district attorney, Kim Ogg, she gave me some information that was truly shocking to me. It's about one of the suspects that they found out back in 2024 when they were looking to seek the death penalty. It's a big piece of information that really changed the game.
So you're saying this isn't the first time that Pena has been accused of rape?
That's correct.
To just know that this happened to another woman.
Oh, shit.
It hurts my heart. Really, a piece of me shatters a little bit.
June 2024, 12-year-old Jocelyn Nunagari's body was found in a bayou on West Rankin Road. Two undocumented Venezuelan nationals, Johan Jose Martinez Rangel and Franklin Jose Pena Ramos.
Shit. Oh, man. And then you got the leftover here. But they're humans. They've got rights.
Are charged with capital murder, accused of sexually assaulting, then killing Jocelyn. Kim Ogg was the Harris County District Attorney at the time. Her office gathered the evidence they needed to seek the death penalty in the case. And now she's revealing a key piece that helped secure that option.
What we learned during the course of the investigation was that one of the suspects, Pena, had been involved in a prior sexual assault.
She says a victim
damn it.
Emotional damage.
From another state was attacked while on vacation before Jocelyn's killing.
It happened in Costa Rica. It happened to an American citizen.
1000% Papa Penguin. Hit the like button for that wood chipper. You know what I mean? Absolutely. We got Frederick Frame as well. Good morning, kind sir, and happy Friday to you and everyone in the chat as well.
Who came forward with that information after their pictures were shown on national television.
I'm very glad that this young woman had the courage to come forward.
Damn, this is sad.
That evidence specifically helped you make this determination for seeking death?
I believe it helped the entire committee make the determination.
Was this information that you had ever known, or is this new to you too?
This is definitely news to me. I always felt in my heart that this was never their first time, especially Pena.
Damn it.
Why are you sharing this now?
Because I am very concerned about the decisions that my successor district attorney has been making. When she reported it to the authorities in Costa Rica, They did nothing. And so imagine the frustration of that individual. I do not want that to be swept under the carpet. I think it's important for the public to get the final say. Do they deserve death for the rape and murder of Jocelyn, or should they spend their life in the penitentiary? What I don't want is some backdoor deal done in the quiet of the night and a long time from now, once people have forgotten the horror.
And I mean, we've got judges sneaking fucking illegals in the back, you know, like, oh, we'll hide you. We'll get you out of this. We've got judges doing that type of shit. Yeah. You know, I don't blame her for being a skeptic in this shit right now, not trusting in the judicial system right now.
This case.
I see this as a reoffender scenario. And because he wasn't held accountable for his actions when he did this to this other young woman, he should be held accountable for this young child whose life was taken.
Fair enough,
Of
Anson.
course, I did reach
That's
out
fair
to
enough.
the Harris County District Attorney and their current administration to see if they had any comment or response to what Og told me, but they declined to comment on this at this time.
All right, again, there, Abigail Dye, Fox 26 in
True,
Houston. Thanks so
Papa.
much for the work that you put into that story. It provided a lot of context. Again, folks all around the world have been paying attention to what happened there to Jocelyn Nungary. I have to ask you, you actually spoke there in that story with Jocelyn's mother, Alexis. We've seen her on the campaign trail and in the White House as well with President Trump. It seems like it's a lot of attention that she's
Yo, Brother Steve, good morning, kind sir. Good to see you and happy Friday, my man.
continuing to push for Jocelyn. What kind of sense did you get as you talked to Alexis? How is she still doing in this time? Is she still trying to heal from her daughter's death, but also pushing for justice?
Well, Christina, it's a lot. It's a lot of emotion, a lot of things happening in her life. You know, she's really been pushing for different legislation. Senate Joint Resolution 1, which was touted as Jocelyn's Law, went to vote yesterday, and unfortunately that did not pass in the House to be put on the ballot in Texas this November. So today she was a little somber at that news. And then on top of it, finding out this new information, it seems like it's just thing after thing, and this case continues to develop. And Alexis is really keeping her head on straight and being so strong through all of this. She's so well-spoken. And
well, that's a sad story, dude. That's terrible. Yeah, I mean, they did consolidate that in a way that is a storytelling, you know, kind of thing. So real quick, we're going to run into this hurricane ordeal because I do have that as a headline. And we're going to be talking about the weather just a little bit about the hurricane season of 2025.
Welcome back here on Live Now from Fox 735.
As a lot of you guys might be going through a lot of weather right now, as am I. It's actually currently not raining, but it was raining, and I believe it's supposed to be our last day of rain today. But it's been, you know, tornado watch kind of a thing. It's bad type of season.
5 on the East Coast and 4:35 on the West Coast. The Atlantic hurricane season starting Sunday, that is June 1st, and all day we're going to have extensive coverage of preparations as we always track those named storms that pose any kind of threat to the U.S. Our coverage starts at 8 a.m. Eastern time right here on Live Now from Fox, and it will continue all throughout the day. I want to discuss more about the predictions.
That's
what
right,
we are
Steve.
thinking
He
for
knows
this
the deal.
hurricane season as a whole, as far as the Atlantic goes. Jamie Rome is the Deputy Director of the National Hurricane Center, joining us now live to discuss just that. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today.
Thank you for having us.
Of course. And the first question here, the big one, what are we expecting for this Atlantic hurricane season?
Well, the official NOAA predictions are for the season are slightly above average.
Yep, and I actually have. Did I delete it? Oh, I did delete it. Damn it! I'm gonna add it into my StreamYard real quick. So let me add this picture.
What we would traditionally see from a climatological perspective. But what that prediction doesn't tell you is where the storms may form or who they may impact. So for all coastal residents, we really have to assume that we could be threatened individually. And so we have to take the necessary precautions just like we do every season.
And I do have to ask, because we talk about this each and every season, how is this one comparing to maybe some of the previous seasons that we've seen recently?
Well, it's a little too early in the season to know. That's sort of like, determining if you like a book or a movie after reading, maybe only the first page or so. And so far, there's nothing that has materialized in the season that is, out of the ordinary or unusual. So we really have to let the season play out before we can sort of compare it to other seasons.
Don't judge a book by its cover, they always
Okay.
say. So what are the
I
key?
just uploaded it right now. All right, here it is. So check this out. This is the new Tornado Alley risk zones. So you've got the danger zone, which is the red zone, and I am absolutely in that red zone on the bottom right side there. Just barely, but definitely in it. And look how many states are just fully engulfed red. Just totally rough. And then you have your moderate, your orange, and then less likely, obviously, in the yellow. But I thought this was really interesting that this is what is considered the new Tornado Alley. Anyways.
Key climate factors that influence this year's forecast overall?
Well, one of the bigger ones is, and you've seen this for the last several seasons, the Atlantic and Caribbean and Gulf have been running sort of warm, meaning the ocean temperatures are a bit warmer than
chatting with Stacks, my man. Good morning. Good morning.
Usual. And if
Happy
that
Friday.
persists through the heart of the season, then it's obviously going to be an active year. There are other factors at play too, such as the presence of ENSO or El Nino or La Nina in the Pacific. And then, there's probably all told 5 to 10 things that sort of drive the overall seasonal activity. We tend to focus on the sea surface temperatures in the presence of El Nino or La Nina, but there are probably 5 to 10 other factors that go into it.
A lot of people are watching this right now. We are...
Bro, what's funny is you guys deal with a lot of that, obviously tornadoes as well. But here in our bunker, we've got, it's hilarious. We've got booze. We're ready to go party-wise. We're ready to party. We're ready to get down with our bad selves. Man, I'm losing my internet again. Speaking of fucking weather, which... I'm not even sure how the weather actually affects internet anymore because it's not through cable that's hanging in the air and shit like that. It's all underground now. So how does it affect the internet? I don't know.
Just starting the Atlantic hurricane season, so folks aren't necessarily thinking about it just yet if they live maybe along a coastal city there on the Gulf or just on the Atlantic Ocean itself. What sort of preparations can folks be making now as we start the season?
Well, I'm just going to tell you straight up. I've already prepared my house for hurricane season. I've already pulled out and tested generators, looked at my supplies, replenished some of my supplies. If your garage is like my garage, things seem to disappear or walk off. So you want to go through and make sure you have everything and not only have it, but have it where you can get to it easily. So, make sure everything is in one location versus sort of scattered throughout the house. Check those batteries, make sure everything's topped off. And, the one thing we're really stressing this hurricane season is as a society, we've become more and more reliant.
Yo, brother Fester. Good morning, kind sir. Good to see you. Hopefully you're doing well and swell on this Friday morning.
On power, right? So, and power loss is becoming what used to be an inconvenience during a storm.
Yeah, we just had one, Christopher. We had one in Huntsville, basically in Huntsville area. That's only like 40 minutes away from me. But yeah, it was close to us. Now, wasn't that long ago that I had 2 tornadoes go over my lake. That was how long ago, chat? Maybe 2-3 months ago, something like that. But yeah, it's brutal, dude.
For some individuals, it's becoming life-threatening. So if you're one of those individuals medically sensitive or you rely on power for various
By the
reasons,
way, I love Mobile. I love that whole area down there.
You need to really think about how you're going to either evacuate from a power loss area or be able to safely generate power in the event the commercial power is disrupted.
What are some of the areas, when we look along the coast, we always talk about Florida and Texas, but what areas are maybe more prone to seeing a named storm? Is there a specific location or is it kind of all along the coast?
It really is all along the coast. And that's why the seasonal forecast is kind of tricky. While it tells you the overall activity throughout the entire basin, it doesn't tell you where a storm may form. So an individual living in Houston versus an individual living in New York, we can't say with certainty whether those two areas are more or less at risk in this type of scenario. So in both cases, both cities.
Really? I did not know that. So Papa Penguin says there is a solar storm going on right now, G3, which I know nothing about, by the way. I have no idea what even that really is. I'm just gonna guess that there's like meteors or something like, just shit going on. I don't know. I don't even know what a solar storm really is. I'm just being honest. If I don't know something, I'll tell you. I don't know. That's probably what's going on with your internet. Plays havoc with everything. I did not know that I didn't know anything like that would affect it. I mean, it's not necessarily that surprising. I just didn't know that. But that's super interesting. I'm gonna have to look up into what like solar storms are and shit. And real quick, we got Sick Bastard up in the building as well, man. Appreciate you guys, and hopefully you're all enjoying your Friday morning. And also, thank you guys for hitting that like button on the show, man. I very much appreciate that.
Have to go ahead and get prepared for hurricane season.
Are there any new tools or anything?
No. Okay. So that's a good enough close for what's happening on the hurricane side of stuff. I think that was a good consolidation there. We're going to go ahead and move into the very final day for Elon Musk, which was today, the 130th day. If you guys may or may not know, with a presidential appointed position. It's a government position appointed by the president, and that's what Elon Musk was. He was not elected, obviously. Well, there's a certain limitation to this. 130 days is actually the maximum that they can serve. So today marks the 130 days, hence why yesterday you guys heard him say, or the day before, that he's officially, back to work and, blah, blah, blah. Well, this is why.
Later on in the afternoon, 1:30 p.m. Eastern time, that is when Elon Musk will speak alongside President Trump. And that takes us to our first story as we do take a live look outside of the White House at this hour. Trump is going to mark Elon Musk's final day in his government role as a top advisor as the two hold a joint news conference in the Oval Office. President Trump writing on Truth Social, quote, "This will be his last day, but not really, because he will always be with us, helping all the way. Elon is terrific." Musk did announce his departure earlier in the week, a day after CBS released part of an interview where he said that he was, quote, disappointed by the president's so-called Big Beautiful Bill. The legislation does include a mix of tax cuts and enhanced.
Oh, shit. So that's what he was disappointed by, was the Big Beautiful Bill, and probably what has been inserted into it at this point.
After CBS released part of an interview where he said that he was, quote, disappointed by the president's so-called Big Beautiful Bill. The legislation does include a mix of tax cuts and enhanced immigration enforcement. Musk described it as, quote, a massive spending bill that increases the federal deficit and undermines the work of his Department of Government Efficiency, known as DOGE. Musk's role was always expected to be a temporary one, by the way. He does run several of his own businesses, including Tesla and SpaceX. A lot to discuss about all of this here.
Holy shit. So we're in the middle of a G3, and G5 being the highest, and G5 equals damage and collapse of grids are possible. That's crazy. Holy shit, dude. Thank you for explaining that to me. That's dope. That and the way that you put it.
So I do want to bring in John Tamney, the founder and president of the Parkview Institute, the editor of Real Clear Markets, and a senior fellow at the Market Institute. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us this morning and help break all of this down.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so first off, I do want to talk about that interview that Elon Musk did with CBS News. That's what possibly led to all of this being announced this week. So what was it necessarily about that Big Beautiful Bill that Elon Musk considered to be, quote unquote, disappointing?
Steve,
I think that Musk took on a major business risk by taking on political risk in using Doge to actively attack aspects of waste within the federal government. He did that only to see Congress and the president proceed to write up a bill that increased spending, that did nothing to essentially add to the work that Musk did to reduce the cost, size, scope, and government. And so I think he feels like he went to a lot of work for nothing.
Oh, wow.
And as we continue to follow this, I did mention that there is going to be that news conference happening at 1:30 p.m. Eastern time. That is going to be President Trump speaking alongside Elon Musk inside of the Oval Office. We're going to have full coverage of that and bring it to you in full here on Live Now from.
Oh, man. I guess Trump is speaking alongside Elon Musk today at 1:30 Eastern. So that's noon 30 my time. It's 10:49 right now for context. So I'll definitely be watching that later on today.
Fox. So from a financial perspective, how significant are the potential savings that Doge claims to have identified? Because there's been some differing numbers here. We've heard a lot of different numbers thrown around from the get-go up until now. So how significant are the savings overall?
Utterly immaterial. They're so small as to be undetectable. Certainly no one in the markets could detect them, a difference in size. It was in many ways performative. That's not a knock on Elon Musk. It's more a statement of reality. This is not the first time we've had a major government spending initiative, an attempt to essentially look at the cost and size of government and shrink it.
Yeah. We've done this multiple times. This is not something new. There was always some unelected bureaucrat that fucking did the job, which that was kind of my argument about it. Like, I kind of like that it was Elon Musk for a couple of reasons. Yes, his brain is obviously, I think he's really obviously smart. But wouldn't it be better to have a guy that, everyone knows who he is, so you can hold that man accountable? He has a lot to lose, being the richest man on the planet, being on a open market scale, not like Saudi princes and shit like that. But you know what I'm getting at. I think it's great to be able to, I think it was a good time to be able to have that experiment and see, because he never did go, in my opinion, I didn't think that he was breaching anything. I think that what he did was actually a good job. I think it was a good job, honestly. Some people have asked me, like, what do you think? But I really wanted to reserve all the way, and still we'll see if it actually works out in the long run, which it probably won't. But I think it was a great thing. And I think that him being exactly who he is, going to be able to hold him accountable, because everyone knows his fucking face. We know who's doing it. I'd rather that than some unelected bureaucrat that no one even knows the name of that's doing it. You know what I mean? Anyways.
Let's go back to 1981 when Ronald Reagan got into the White House. They tried the same thing. But what Ronald Reagan ran into, too, is that every single government program has a constituency, and every single program has a Republican constituency. So even though Republicans are rhetorically for limited government, what Reagan found—
What's up, Sleeping Joe? Good to see
Trump
you.
and Musk found is that since every program has someone behind it, it's very difficult to actually reduce or get rid of anything.
One thing that's been mentioned a lot as we take a live look over the Capitol building here is that the one big beautiful bill, as it's been dubbed by critics, is actually being called the reverse.
Fuck no, of course not, Papa Penguin. But I in this kind of situation, I try to be optimistic, but you're asking a realistic question. And of course the answer would be no, a resounding no.
Robin Hood bill, simply from, again, a financial perspective. Is that accurate from your understanding?
No, it's complete nonsense. And this is something that has been left out in the media coverage of not just this tax cut or this bill, but the one from 2017. If you look at both, they're in many ways a huge tax increase on the richest taxpayers. I think that's economically very problematic. The rich, by virtue of being rich, when they get a tax cut, they actually put that wealth to work through savings and investment, which drives actual economic growth.
True.
Look at what these bills have done. Precisely because they close the state and local tax deduction largely, and in the latest one increase it only somewhat. What you have is the richest taxpayers, many of them in New York, California, New Jersey, Illinois, paying more in federal taxes, even though they have a lower headline rate of taxation. This is in many ways a soak the rich bill, and that's why I have such a problem with it.
And I do want to pop this up on your screen because, as always, we do want to hear from you at home and get kind of your take on this. So I'm going to leave this up on your screen. But the question we're asking, do you believe that Elon Musk was qualified?
All right. So I think that's a cool area to leave that, and we're going to go into our last story here, ladies and gentlemen. We're consolidating this, perfect timing. All right, let's go ahead and get into the very last story of the day. Make sure you guys stick around for the raid at the end as well. We're going to be raiding our buddy Carney. He's live right now, so make sure you guys stick around for that and hang out with us.
This developing story here, Arkansas authorities looking to whether a job in the prison kitchen played a role in the weekend escape of a convicted former police chief known as the Devil in the Ozarks.
Exactly, Steve. That's exactly where I We all got the message. We didn't need to hear that get reiterated like 30 more fucking times before we were like, oh, okay, we got the message. No, we got what they were saying. And we got Brother Bob up there in Canada, Biker News Canada. Kind sir, always appreciate you. Happy Friday to you and everybody. Absolutely W for everyone in the chat, man. Can't do this shit without you guys.
Grant
Seriously.
Harden, who is 56 years old, and you'll see his photo again in just a second, was housed in a maximum security wing of the medium security Calico Rock prison, where he also held a job in the kitchen. That is according to Arkansas Department of Corrections. Authorities have said that Harden escaped Sunday by donning an outfit that was designed to look like a law enforcement uniform. Rob D'Amico, a friend of the show, retired FBI agent and the host of Inside the Line with Rob, that's a YouTube podcast, joining us now to discuss really all of this and what happens next. Thank you so much, as always, Rob, for taking the time to be here with us.
Good to be here, Josh.
All right, so first off, I have to ask, because we're not just talking about an escapee like we saw with the 10 escapees over in New Orleans, but we're talking about a former police officer. So how does that kind of change things here?
Well, it's kind of like having inside baseball knowledge. So he's probably gone to training. They may have done fugitive manhunts, but he knows how police operate. So he knows what they're going to be doing. And the problem with that is, one, it's easier to avoid if you know what they're going to do. Two, he also knows the vulnerability. So I would say, like, if you're doing surveillance, and especially in fugitives, you think he may be getting help from a family or support member. So you're watching the place and you're sitting there watching. And sometimes you'll go down to one cop in a car to do that, to spread the manpower out, because if you see something, then you radio it in and they bring a tactical team in. The problem is he knows that. And you're very vulnerable when you're doing surveillance because you're watching a target. Your entire back is exposed to someone sneaking up. So if he's going in and out of somewhere, and he knows to lay back and see who's watching the place, then that can put that, police officer, even if it's two of them, at a disadvantage.
That's very true, Beezer. We're all winners here. You've earned this participation trophy. Yes, and thank you guys for hitting that like button. I know it's very laborious and it's hard work, but it is free. It helps me out, helps out the channel. Very much appreciate it.
To be snuck up on. So the other thing I think is with vehicles. He knows that if he steals a vehicle, if it's reported right away, that increases the chances of, one, his location being known, two, them looking for a vehicle. And they can do that easier with helicopters and other things and roadblocks. So that means, well, if he steals it, either he does it without the knowledge at all of the owner, or if he carjacks it, what do you do with the owner? Because if you put him out on the street, that's the risk. So he may do something violent in order to hide the fact that he has that vehicle for a while. So those things that come in play when you're out looking for him.
When you talk about the fact that he had this job in the kitchen, we know that investigators, authorities there have said that they were looking into whether that maybe played a role somehow in his escape. How do maybe those job assignments cause potential issues, security issues like this?
Absolutely. I think the big thing, one that stands out in the prison, he was in a medium security prison, even though, quote, now they're saying he was in the max security part of that medium security prison. Why was a guy facing
dude's in a mid
80 years, which is a death sentence for him in jail for, one, first-degree murder and rape in a medium security jail? Just not the place for him. Two, you give them a job, any job in the prison where you're out of your cell and you can look around and you can understand the movement of people, things, and places, and have access to other things, increases the likelihood of you being able to figure out a way to escape. If he was in a cell in his block and then out.
Yeah, max medium. You're in the maximum part of the medium. Yeah, something like that.
Yard every once in a while, he's not getting access to behind the scenes operations like food deliveries. How's that go? How do they bring people in and out? He can be understanding the complacency of the guards, which I think may have happened when the guard let him out. And he may be getting
you gotta love it though. You gotta love it.
able to get access to whatever he made that uniform out of. Somehow he got access to, or he could have got food and traded it to a guy who works in the laundry room to get clothing. So again, outside
this guy.
The cell, giving them something like that gives them access to understand how the prison operates more.
Rugged terrain there in the
Do you know how the prison operates?
Ozark Mountains, as you have people searching, when you're talking,
it's a lot more in depth and more political than that.
About flatland, maybe it makes it, I would imagine, a little bit easier. But when you talk about a region like that, how does that make it tougher when you're trying to search for one person who is on the run?
Oh, it's extremely difficult. You look at there's a couple factors. The tree cover is huge, and it is spring, so it's not like it's winter.
Yo, Joseph, he comes in saying, "Snow Mexican in the house." Good morning, Mr. Ball, Lucy, Breakfast Crew, BNC, and can't forget the haters. Stop the cat.
Stop the cap.
W comment for Joseph, bro. Gotta love it. Gotta love it, bro. Always appreciate you, man. Hopefully you're enjoying your Friday morning so far.
Where the trees don't have leaves on it, that you'd be able to get up in the air with a helicopter or drone and even look at it from thermal imagery wise. The layer of canopy over it really makes it difficult. 2, it's a very rainy season. When we were looking for Eric Rudolph, kind of like this in the mountains in North Carolina, you would walk a little bit and then you'd stop and listen, and you'd be listening for movement, and that's easy detectable. But when it's pouring rain, you can have someone running very close to you, you're never going to hear it. So the hills come into play because there's caves and there's all kinds of other things. I think there's probably, like in North Carolina when we were looking, there's hunting cabins and fishing cabins out there that people don't go to, but they're accessible to a fugitive that's looking for a place to hold up and shelter. Maybe they all have stockpiles of food in it. You can get in there for a couple of days, get the food, and then move on. It's a very difficult area to look for someone.
When we talk about Hardin's violent criminal history here, the public obviously
good luck, homeboy,
paying close attention to all of the developments, all the information that's coming in, the photos, everything. What precautions do folks out there who are in that region and really in general need to be focused on?
Big thing is locking, obviously locking your windows, your doors, locking your car. You want to watch your neighbors too. If you can, in proximity, is someone lurking about, watching for a vulnerability, an opportunity to do something. If you're driving at night and you're coming up to a stop sign.
Holy shit. Yeah. If he was an ex-cop and he was in there for grape, dude, he's definitely in PC. 100%. There's no doubt. Without a doubt.
Or red light. Be very cautious of who may be out on the corner or something, because again,
Doug, we got Doug Ross up in here saying, got a roll, just saying hello. And hey, man, I'll always appreciate you, man. Thank you for hanging out with us, by the way. And see you on the flip side, my man.
Looking
Happy
to get
Friday.
A car, he doesn't want to stop a moving car, but if you stop at a stop sign or a red light, he has the ability to ambush you, get your car, and then move on. So again, it's precautions. I think Arkansas there.
From what I've seen no worries, bro.
A lot of people are armed down there, and he probably knows that. I mean, he comes from there. He
Much
knows
love,
the area.
bro.
But if they're armed, that also gives him the opportunity, if he can get a jump on them, to then take their weapon from them. Now he has a weapon on top of it. So like I said, it's dangerous. Situational awareness. Pay attention to everything, especially in the woods outside your area. Keep the external lights on. He doesn't want to go to where he's seen. So if you have
hell yeah, Pedro. I like that. Dude, that's a W comment, bro. Just saying. All right, so we got enough of the ordeal. As always, we try our absolute damnness to get the craziest world news, geopolitical, everything. You know what I mean? We get it all consolidated in 1 hour. That's usually how I like to do it. Obviously, you know what I mean? I don't like to sit on here and just go over random shit. Like, I try to find the most important shit of the day. And that's what we do out here, man. So listen, with that being said, man, I very much appreciate you guys. If you guys are members, by the way, tomorrow morning, Saturday morning, 10 a.m. CST, 11 a.m. Eastern, we have a members only live stream tomorrow morning. It's going to be awesome. If you guys are members, make sure you guys show up, man. It's a great ass fucking time. And we get to be quite a bit uncensored, man. As much as, YouTube will allow us, but we get fucking crazy over there. So, listen, I always appreciate you guys. Much love, honor, respect to everybody. And hopefully you guys all have a wonderful rest of your weekend. And also if, or start to your weekend. But if I don't see you for members only, you guys, I'll see you guys back on Monday morning for more of the World Madness, because I take Sunday off every weekend. It's one day I get off. So anyway, stick around for Brother Carney's ride. We're going to be going over and rating his channel. Make sure you guys let him know what's up and hit the like button over there as well. And also here too. Always appreciate it. All right. God bless everyone. We'll see you guys very soon. Much love.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges, a host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart, steel, and a spirit unbroken, he rides on two wheels, ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with.
Brother Lee with the $2 dues, man. I very much appreciate you, man. Much love.